there is a lot of talent that we're going to see almost immediately when this deal is done.
Yeah, look, I think Dazn giving all these promoters those dates, and not all of them, certain dates. The promoters also need to know, they know that if they don't put up the fights, they could just stop giving them dates and move on to the other promoters. They have so many other promoters that are willing to put those fights together. But if one promoter doesn't do it, they could cut them off easily. That's why every single promoter is going to put up the best fights out there. So it's good for boxing, man.
That's such a good point, Coach. I didn't even think about that. So the network is now going to have control and power over the promoters to force fights, and we're seeing that a little bit now. We're seeing
exactly.
Boots was getting pushed by the networks, by DAZN to make a big fight, and we did get a big fight. We got Xander Zayas out of it because the negotiations with Virgil fell through. I think that's ultimately a good thing. If you get a network that's able to assert some power to make sure that we're getting competitive fights, the sport's going to be better on a whole. We're going to have better fights.
Bro, did y'all just hear Robert Garcia? What an absolutely fantastic point that lets us know why the biggest and the best fights are gonna be made now that all the promoters are signed, all the promotion companies are signed, the big ones are signed with DAZN. Ladies and gentlemen, let's just say if Top Rank decides to not put on the best, biggest fights, involve their best, biggest fighters in the biggest, best fights. If PBC decides to do the same thing, if one of these promotional companies is lacking and is the reason why fights are being made, well, guess what? Guess what DAZN is going to do, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to stop giving them dates. They are going to move on to the next promotional company because now DAZN controls the dates and who's putting on the fights. Ladies and gentlemen, has a monopoly been created in the sport of boxing? Just like the UFC. Dana White would urge these guys, if you don't like your contract, if you don't like what we offer you, go ahead, leave the UFC, go find another MMA organization. But with that came huge losses for fighters. There is no organization out there like the UFC. You're going to go to PFL, you're going to go to UAE, where you don't get the type of same exposure that you do being a UFC fighter. They've got leverage with what they've been able to create. And now I think to myself, wow, if you're PBC, promotional company, working with DAZN, and you don't put up the fights, you don't put up the work, you don't put up what DAZN is asking you to put up, guess what? What if they just end their deal with you? Short-term deal that they had with PBC. All these deals, every promotional company, it's just not PBC, it's Golden Boy Promotions, it's everybody. DAZN wants to have the biggest, best fights on their platform to make the biggest, best money, to draw the most eyes, to build the company. But what they don't want is to get back into the old business of boxing. There's a reason why boxing is no longer on TV. There's a reason why everybody is on a DAZN now. Boxing has done this to themselves. People don't want to get into the business of boxing because the business of boxing is diabolical. You don't know whether or not this fight's going to happen, this fight's going to happen, because the manager's there, managers this, promoters here, promoters there. It's a clusterfuck that no TV network wants to be involved with. And DAZN understands that. DAZN understands that Zuffa Boxing are their rivals right now, prime competitors. And DAZN and Zuffa single-handedly have created Two entities that stand out more than anyone's. So now I say, if these promotion companies don't want to follow along with the plans of the Zone, well, guess what the Zone's gonna do? Go find yourself a broadcasting deal somewhere else. Go find your guy South. Go get a budget somewhere else. Go back with Amazon Prime with your distribution deal where you don't receive a budget. Ladies and gentlemen, you've got two entities in the sport of boxing now that are pressing the issue. And now y'all see why the biggest, best fights have to happen. Now y'all see why Sebastian Fundora, he went from not caring about any of the titles to the hell with Undisputed with Samson Lukovic to now, for the first time ever, I see him putting his foot down against Samson Lukovic and what he has to say. I hear this man talking about Undisputed now. The Zone was getting on Jerome Boots Ennis and Eddie Hearn's ass, trying to set up that Virgil Ortiz fight, getting on all of them. Because we have an opportunity here as the Zone to have Jerome Boots Ennis as Virgil Ortiz on our platform, make a ton shitload of money. But it's the promoters, it's the managers, it's those type of things that are getting in the way. And the Zone has no, well, they do now. They have a say-so now. They always did. They tried to press the issue, but now it's 100 times more serious, bro. Being that everybody is signed under the Zone, the other competitor is Zuffa Boxing. If you as a promotional company do not deliver, then you're left out. And my goodness, where are they going to go? What is better than signing with the Zone right now? Top Rank, PBC, these are guys that all talked about never signing to the Zone, never putting boxing on an app. And now look at them. Ladies and gentlemen, Robert Garcia, when he said that, I said to myself, bro, that is 100% true. All facts. And why it's actually better for boxing not to be all spread out on different broadcasting networks and this and that. It's great for boxing to be under the Zone and have some type of overhead. That's what we need in the sport of boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody to put their foot down and control the boxing world and set up the biggest, best fights, ladies and gentlemen. I want y'all to let me know how you guys feel about that. This is a great, great subject to talk about. Robert Garcia bringing this up, absolutely fantastic, man. Let me know what you guys think, bro.